So I know my channel has usually been MCU stuff, but I thought with all the controversy around the Star Wars stuff and the Rotten Tomatoes and what everyone thinks about it, I thought I'd make a video about it. And joining me today is Jake.
Not going to go the way you think. Fulfill your destiny.
So let's start off talking about John Campea. He is someone I have watched and still watch, and I'm not saying I hate him or that I think he's a terrible reviewer or anything like that. I think he has a great channel, but he does have one quote here that I have to completely deny, and the fact I think he sees in his comment sections people are saying this, but he's ignoring it.
Yeah, it's one thing he needs to acknowledge this.
And he said that, let's just play the video right now.
Address the Last Jedi plot holes. There are no plot holes. There are no plot holes. At least certainly no obvious plot holes. There are things about the movie that do not work for me. As far as plot holes go, I have not seen anybody raise up that's a legit plot hole that I agree that it was a plot hole. There are no plot holes.
There are no plot holes. What the fuck?
When you say that, I know he has seen his comment section. There was a lot of people in that video saying to recognize the plot holes, and they were listing plot holes, and he hasn't been responding to them. And I just really think that is just ridiculous because
it's not like it's like I can understand. Yeah, there are some things that people complain about the movie that aren't necessarily plot holes, like the whole Yoda looking weird storyline. Like that's not a plot hole. That's just a complaint. But if you watch, like we said before, the Angry Joe, he did a pretty long video discussing what he didn't like about the movie, and he started it off, and he's pretty honest. He's not like a Star Wars hater. He actually likes Star Wars a lot, but he did acknowledge a lot of the plot holes that are realistic, huge plot holes that I think it's pretty arrogant for John Campea to just act like there's no plot holes when, yeah, if you read a fake plot hole, then yeah, you can say I haven't seen one when I look at that comment, but to sit there and act like there's no plot holes is basically pretty laughable.
Yeah, and that's why I really wish John could. I posted down in the comments. I saw a lot of other people saying it, but things like ineffective shields, how the shields suddenly don't work, how gravity applies. There's a lot of
or why Holdo never told Poe the plan from the get-go. There's no reason for that. What reason was that she wouldn't do that?
The fact that Yoda can use lightning as a ghost, that means that he can literally kill everybody and not get touched. That is a major plot hole. He could have saved the day and done everything. And the fact that, I mean, one X-Wing fighter, whatever it's called, is able to take out a whole dreadnought and not get hit once. There's no shields on their ships. I mean, it's stuff like that I really don't really care that much. But to say that there are no plot holes is pretty insane. And I think John should really recognize these and talk about these. So as far as the Rotten Tomatoes go, right now it is at a 52% audience rating and
a 92% critic rating. And this is one of those movies where I can understand why the critics gave it such a high score. But the whole point of this video is kind of wanting to talk about how, like, a lot of the critics and, like, people on YouTube are trying to downplay the 52% when really I think it's actually pretty indicative of, like, what people think of the movie. Like, we have some examples of people on YouTube. Yeah,
well, the people that are saying that there's bots and stuff, but the people that we watch on YouTube mainly, Tyrone and Angry Joe are two people that really hated it, and Jeremy was in the middle, Jeremy Johns, and then that really loved it is Chris Collider, John Campea, and we'll get back to John Campea and Collider later, but
but back to the bots things, I think that's kind of already been shot down. Like, I don't think that's actually possible. Now, I think one thing that is true is there might be people that go on here to purposely try to make the score go down, but that's the same for every single movie. So it's not like it's just this movie that it's brought the score down by so much. So another key point that I wanted to make here, this one kind of ties into John Campea's storyline. Basically, he always brings up, not only him, there's other people too that always bring this up in defense of Star Wars The Last Jedi, is they always bring up the cinema score, and they always act like it's so perfect.
Now they care about
it. It shows like how the general audience thinks of the movie. But my whole thing is they don't know who's giving the they don't vet the Rotten Tomatoes audience score voters, but this CinemaScore website we're supposed to just believe that they're asking every single person that sees the movie, and it covers a wide variety of people. When if they are asking fanboys after a private screening, like that, we don't know who they're asking. And people that didn't like the movie probably wouldn't want to give an interview after the movie in the first place. And then also another thing about that was how the prequels, all 3 prequels have A- scores. So I'm not sure how, I guess, what's the word I'm thinking of right now?
Rated, but...
I'm not sure how accurate this website actually is, because it just depends on who they're asking, and we don't really know who they're actually asking except for a score.
Yeah, and the fact that as you've heard from all the movies, they've always talked about Rotten Tomatoes, and every single YouTuber always talks about Rotten Tomatoes, and now they decide to bring up CinemaScore right when it fits their narrative.
Where was all this defense for, Justice League or Age of Ultron when people were, I never heard people trying to say that, there's people that just hate on the movie on purpose. That happens for every single movie. I just think that the people that love the movie kind of need to accept that there are people out there that actually dislike the movie, but you just have to ignore the people that are out there that are just kind of hating it on purpose. Yeah, there's a big line there, and I think there's a lot more people in the good section of this argument.
And moving on to Collider, which Jake and I have watched for a while, and there's a lot of people there we like. Some people,
back when they were in the AMC Theater channel.
Yeah, we even watched them then, and I'm not saying this is all of Collider, but there's a few people in specific that... There were some people that were making sense and I agreed with, but some people that are really taking offense to the negative reviews now that it's Star Wars, and I guess because you care more about it. But a few months ago, when Justice League was getting bad reviews, they totally didn't have the same angle. They were saying how...
They were feeding into it.
Yeah, not only are they saying they're all bots, but there's Marvel fans doing it.
They actually had a picture of Steppenwolf crying on their thumbnail.
Yeah, in their quotes, it was, you can dislike the movie, but to tear down people that like it is wrong. And I really think that is ridiculous, because just because someone is passionate about the movie and doesn't like something doesn't mean they're tearing it down for you. It's the fact that they didn't like it. They're not just doing it just to tear down someone else's experience.
Yeah, and then a couple of points I want to make about Collider. 2 people in particular. One was Mark Ellis, and then there was a girl, I think it's Perry Nemiroff.
Yeah.
For her, there was a point that she made about how she found a Facebook page of someone saying that they were making a group to go on and tear down the movie rating. That could be some troll just saying that to say it. I mean, there's no validity to that, and that's... You could see that for every single movie. Like, for a DC movie came out, a Marvel page could do that, or if a Marvel movie came out, a DC page could do that. That always happens. So the fact that you even try to use that for why the score is so low is really ridiculous, because if it was so easy to make the score go low, why has the score not gone up by people that love it? And then for Mark Ellis, the point he made was one complaint about the movie that he was trying to make it sound like it wasn't a real complaint about the movie was the storyline of Rey's parents, and saying how The Last Jedi never told you to theorize for the last 2 years about who her parents were. First of all, on their own channel, on Jedi Council, they theorize that stuff every single day of the month, of the week, every single week, about that. And then, not only that, in Force Awakens, they totally leave that storyline unanswered for a reason. The director even said, "Why does Rey not have a last name?" There's a reason to that. So they did make you think about who her parents were actually going to be. So that whole argument saying that if you were disappointed in the movie because you didn't, or the parents' storyline kind of ended up being a big nothing, that's totally a realistic complaint, and to try to play it off like it's not a complaint is ridiculous, especially for someone who hosts Jedi Council that's main goal is to theorize everything under the sun in the Star Wars universe, from kyber crystals to Chewie taking a planet as a sacrifice.
And the thing the thing about the people finding the bots, I mean, I'm pretty sure on John Campea, we're going back to John Campea for a second, but he listed 4 examples of people saying stuff like Black Wars and stuff like that, and it's like
that's just the ridiculous
find 4
comments.
People.
Because obviously, John,
so many reviewers.
If John watches, obviously that comment is totally ridiculous and uncalled for. Like, you just don't even acknowledge that kind of stuff. But I'm not defending the people that dislike the movie in that aspect, bringing up racism, comments like that. And my complaints about like some of the characters, like the Rose character, it has nothing to do with her race. Like,
or acting.
It's not even about her. It's about just what the director and what the movie had her character do. If they gave her character more to do and didn't force a love story with Finn, I probably would have liked her character. But that just, I just did not like that character, not the person. That's ridiculous if you go after the person. But it's totally realistic to have a complaint about the act, like, or of the character.
Yeah, and on that, I think we might just go to our final thoughts. Where, I mean, honestly, I walked out of the movie happy, but I can see where people wouldn't be happy with certain things, like how you're expecting Luke to be. I mean, that moment with Luke getting shot at by all those things is really cool, but it was a lot cooler the first time when you thought it was actually him there. And I can understand why people would be angry, because, I mean, the first 3/4 of this movie is pretty slow, and things like Rey being able to not really having any training. She doesn't train at all with Luke, which is something you have to acknowledge. She's able to defeat the highly trained guys there. I forget what are their names. I forget what their names are. So
Who?
The red guys.
Oh.
Whatever their names are, they are highly trained guys.
That was actually another storyline drop. The Knights of Ren.
Yeah.
I think it must have been Snoke's.
Yeah, bodyguard. Just Snoke's bodyguard. Like, and the fact that I'm honestly fine with it. I don't really care, but you have to acknowledge it. If you're going to act like there's nothing wrong, then she cannot. I mean, if she's able to take on 3 of those guys without any training, you can list her training because she doesn't have any training. She literally has no training. Only with the Force, not with a lightsaber. That's something you have to acknowledge. I mean, it really didn't bother. It bothered me more the third time I saw the movie, and yes, I saw it that many times. It bothered me more that time, but still, you have to acknowledge it.
Yeah, I have to agree with a lot of what he just said. Like, I did not hate the movie. I liked the movie a lot, but there was just a lot of things that, like he just said, like the fact. My favorite scene was probably the scene where Kylo and Rey team up for that fight sequence in Snoke's lair. But besides that, if they would have done a couple things differently, it would have changed my overall view of the movie. Like, if you had Luke actually, like, the fact that you had Luke die in the end, then you really could have had him go out in a much cooler way. Like, actually have him, like, blocking all those shots and then actually get killed by Kylo and have that line, like, the fourth one where they say, if you kill me, then I'll stay with you forever.
Yeah.
So really, like, I guess to wrap this up, I would probably give it a 6.5. I'll give it a 7 out of 10 because obviously the acting is top notch, the cinematography is great.
The action's good.
If like those 2 scenes I just said, if those would have been different, this would have been an 8 or a 9. So what score do you want to?
I mean, I'll give
it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd give it a 7.5. And I just wanted to make the one thing about Snoke. I honestly liked 7.5. But I honestly like the way that Snoke died. I just don't like the fact that he died in general.
I would disagree with that, but that's...
I mean, honestly, the way he died, I was honestly fine with. It was actually kind of cool how it happened. It's just the fact that I didn't want him to die. It's like, if he's such a cool villain, and the fact that Rey already beat Kylo in the first one means that Snoke needed to be in it, which means he needed to stay alive, and that's basically it. So I'm pretty sure we covered everything about the main things that people said that really we disagreed with about the way that they were talking about the Star Wars The Last Jedi. It's mainly about just what people are saying about it, not really about the actual movie, most of it. But let me know down below if you agree or disagree, and thanks for watching.